is try to go through it on a line-by-line basis and trying to understand sort of every single word of what Namuthunam is. Okay, so this stotra is also known as Chakra Stava. Before we start understanding Namuthunam, let's just, for example, just take a scenario. Let's imagine that Modi is either visiting us or David Cameron is going to be visiting us. Can we now imagine what's going to be in this scenario right now? Everyone's going to be out there, security staff, someone sort of important coming in here. Suppose Modi avipan kiya, and then Modi is now going to be talking to one of us. Maybe we'll take a selfie photo, and that photo is going to become immortalized. Oh wow, I've got a photo with Modi. It is going to be framed up in our house. Can we just imagine the importance we give to superstars? If you went to, for example, Windsor Castle, Modi betha tha, anya koi king hata. So the importance which we have for very important people, even if they smiled for us or spoke to us for a few seconds. Now let's transport ourselves to Devlok, where all the angels are staying. They've also got gradations in Devlok. And in Devlok, even say basic South in Nanamati Nanupan heavens, they have got immense powers compared to what we have. And again, there must be hierarchy in Devlok. People have got different skills. Someone will be very good in music. Other people are almost like security personnel, making sure they do not invade each other's territory. And out of all that hierarchy, there is one person which is known as Indra Maharaj, who is the head of all the angels. So that in itself is something which we really need to keep at the back of our mind. Someone who is the head of all the Devlokma, head Indra Maharaj. What power he must be having, what kind of importance he must be having in Devlok is unimaginable. However, in Devlokma, so Indra Maharaj immense amount of peace and again lot of power. Now he's sitting in his assembly and suddenly his throne shakes. Can you imagine what would make, he knows Indra Maharaj that he's all powerful. There is not a single Dev who can cause his throne to shake. He's the most powerful of them all. The environment in Devlok is such that that he knows that there is no earthquake in Devlok that which will make his throne shake. So then he's actually wondering, what is that making my throne shake? And it's almost like an earthquake, and the throne is shaking. And then what they do is through the power of Avignan, they have this. They use their knowledge, saying, what has actually made my throne shake? For example, I tell you, what is 27 times 11? So some people will take a calculator and do it. Some people will do it simply. Or other people might know, 27 times 11, I do 2 plus 7 is 9. I put the 9 in between, it's 297. So what have we done? We've used our intellect, and intellect we've applied it to the problem which we got at hand. So similarly, Indra Maharaj then uses his power. Why is my throne shaking? And then the technical term is upyog. Knowledge upyog earth ma ek koi tirthankar no janma thyo che. And when that janma thyo che, so Indra Maharaj gets up from his throne. Now that in itself, imagine kaya Obama betha hoy ke Modi betha hoy, ubha thai, oh Modi ubha thiya, aam thyu. So the importance for every single thing which a superstar does for us becomes like, oh wow, jo loka avit na kayu. So for Indra Maharaj to stand up, everyone else must be thinking, Are Indra Maharaj ubha thiya? We have never seen this before. And then next thing, Indra Maharaj pote he is now bowing down. We have never seen a scenario whereby Indra Maharaj all the Devs, Devios must be bowing to him. So what has actually made Indra Maharaj get up and bow down? Bow down kari, Namuthunam je pose our left leg is up, and then we basically with our hands together, folded arms, Indra Maharaj Namuthunam keche. So that's the reason why it's known as a Chakra Stava. And Indra Maharaj is then eulogizing the Tirthankarni qualities in Devlokmati besine e apna Bhagwan ne ena bada virtues gai che. So that is really important to know what importance Namuthunam has કે Indra Maharaj pote avina gaye છે, and then we have emulated that stotra. And the importance that Indra Maharaja is actually stating this, out of all that hierarchy, that's really important to keep at the back of our mind. Okay, this is the power, the prayer which Indra Maharaj recites. He is eulogizing with utmost respect and bhav for the Tirthankar. Now it begins with Namuthunam and it ends with Vandami. And in between, there are about 35 attributes of Arihant Bhagwan which he's reciting. And we will, as we go along, we'll try to go through each one of those attributes. And generally, this is the pose for Namuthunam. So he's getting out of his throne. Now, left leg up, and then he recites the Namuthunam Stotra. Now, generally, from our own personal experience, where is Namuthunam recited? Now, from our background, some of us could be Svetam Deravasi, some of us could be Digambar, some of us could be Sthanakvasi. So obviously, I do not have the knowledge of what other faiths do, but from my own childhood experience and from what it is, generally when we go to temple, what happens? By and large, the Deravasi who go to the temple, first they will enter the temple, then they will recite a few stutis, Prabhu Darishana, પછી કદાચ ધૂપ પૂજા કરશે, દીવો કરશે, પછી પ્રદક્ષિણા કરશે, ને પછી what they do is Chaityamandan. So so Namuthunam actually comes within the Chaityamandan. In that prayer, so when we do the Chaityamandan, we do Iryavaya, Tasutri Karanam, Anatta Sutra, Logas, and we go through all that, and then comes Namuthunam Sutra, and then we sort of, and it follows this. So that's a Chaityamandan which many people do when they go to Derasa. Now let's look, where does Namuthunam come in? So just before Namuthunam is Jankinchi Sutra. Jankinchi. Jankinchi Sutra ma એમ કહે છે કે જ્યાં જ્યાં તીર્થંકર ભગવાનની પ્રતિમા છે, અહીંયા wherever in the universe, wherever in the earth, એ બધી તીર્થંકરને હું વંદન કરું છું. So that's the sutra before Namuthunam. Then comes Namuthunam, which is giving all the attributes of Tirthankar Bhagwan, and then finally after that again is Javanti Cheyyayi. So what has happened is, we have now said that I'm giving respect to all the Tirthankars in all the places, જ્યાં પણ ભગવાનની મૂર્તિ હોય. પછી આપણે ભગવાનના બધા વર્ચ્યુઝ ગાય છે, આપણા શું ભાવ થાય? It's like almost, first of all, આપણે કોઈને મળે, ઓ કેમ છો, તમે મજામાં છો? પછી we get to know them a little bit more. આપણે કદાચ સાથે હોલિડેમાં ગયા and say, oh yeah, હવે તો આપણે we have become much more closer now. We know each other very well. And then finally, we are deeply in love. That, oh, he's my best friend, because you really got to know them very well. So similarly, we have gone through all these procedures. We say, oh, હું તો ભગવાનને વંદન કરું છું. પછી તો કે હું ભગવાન આટલા બધા 35 virtues બોલવાનો છું. પછી તો તમને કહે આહા. And then the next sutra is Javanti Cheyyayi, salutation to all the Jain temples in the entire universe, because you've got so much adoration for the Tirthankar Bhagwans, and as you're going along, તમારી ભાવ તમારી વધતી જાય છે. And then you come to the Javanti Cheyyayi. So it's almost, first of all, acquaintance, attraction and adoration. So when you think of it, આપણા જે prayers છે, they've got a lot of meaning behind it. Why this particular sequence? So you could have imagined that the Acharya Maharajis, when they composed the sutras, they must have put so much thought behind the prayers itself, the sequence of the prayers. When we did SCVP Pratikaman, so what is the meaning? Now we understand Indra Maharaj got off from his throne, he put his left leg up, he sat down, and that's the reason why we do that in our Pratikaman. That's a symbolic gesture which was done. So there is meaning behind many things, although we might not understand when we first learn it. Now, the first thing is Namuthunam. Now, Namuthunam, so it's almost like, let's think of it, if you're going in a garden, and it's all a bed of roses, is it ever possible that you cannot smell the fragrance? It's natural. You just can't say, garden I could not smell anything. Similarly, the word of Namuthunam is filled with profound essence. It's a single word, Namuthunam, just the first word, and importance, we will look at it as we just go along. Now, let me do an experiment here. Is there anyone with a couple here? Any couple? I need some volunteers. Couple. Anup, come in. Please come here. Okay. Anup, a question to you. Would you agree that Kamini has got lots of qualities, lot of good qualities? It's debatable. be some qualities which are far superior to you. Yeah. She's a great homemaker, and there's so many things she does. She's right? That means she's worthy of adoration. Mm-hmm. Yeah?
And worthy of bowing down.
and worthy of bowing down. So, would you want to bow down? Okay. So that means there's some form of hesitation here. There's some form of hesitation for Anup to bow down. So now what happens is, we might need some martial expert here. Can I call upon Chirag? He's a martial expert. Please, come on. He's a black belt karate. So now, I think we might need to use some pressure and some bit of muscle power. So can we now use a little bit of pressure and make sure that he bows down? What's that?
Listen, it's a good idea.
All right.
Come on then.
Was that enough pressure?
Great, thank you. Thanks. The point is, Namuthunam, now when it was here, as you can see, it was qualities. Papre bow down karu hoy, some kind of ego would kick in. Why should I bow down to someone? Aa tomari wife che, aa tomara chokro che. So that means that ego would sort of kick in, and that's the reason why we have hesitation in sort of, even if someone has got a lot of qualities, we would have that hesitation. Namuthunam, the essence of Namuthunam is like sort of a flower. That tadko hoy, it automatically bends towards the sunlight. There is no force required because it needs the sunlight. So that if you have a stream, rivers, where do the rivers start? The rivers start from mountain tops. They go through all the different terrains, and then eventually they merge into the ocean. So ocean has got a huge amount of powers. Eventually the ocean, it automatically merges in. River hoy, eventually it merges into the ocean. So Namuthunam cannot be under force. And that's why Namuthunam, when it starts, Bhagwan quality start it has to be a natural instinct. If I now feel, hey Bhagwan, mare namunat bartu, maro automatic naman thai jai che. Tamari pas akli badi qualities che. If God has got so many qualities, someone is not going to force me to bow down. That bow down is an automatic process. So that's really the essence of Namuthunam. There is no, once when we know our lords, about the qualities of our Bhagwan, then the Naman becomes automatic. It is not a forced process. And so, just like the plant bends towards the light, just the river actually merges into the ocean, mighty ocean. You know, the river jab pasta to jai, the river goes through lots of highlands, Kashmir Matista, Himalayas Matista. Eventually, it goes through all these beautiful parts, but eventually it merges into the mighty ocean. The ocean is shantat. I have not been everywhere high up in the islands. The river it bows down to the ocean. Even the river bows down towards the ocean. So the essence of Namuthunam is humility, Vinay. Let go of the ego. And Vinay leads to Vijay. And Vijay means victory. So if we have got humility mati avse victory. Mo, na mo. So mo again stands for Mohinya Karma. The beauty about our Jain prayers are there's not just one single definition. When you think about it more and more about our prayers, you can come up with so many different meanings, so many different meaning of sutra. There's not a single this word and this meaning. You can just think and you can really come up with lots of different meanings. So mo is mo, maya, mamatva, delusion, infatuation, attachment. I want to get rid of all this. I want to destroy all this. Even in the 68 letters of Nokar Mantra, Namo appears 10 times. That's 15% of the Nokar Mantra. Namo Arihantanam. Why couldn't the Sadhu Maharaj say Namo, the beginning, Arihantanam Siddhanam Acharyam? Because that you could say that, Hu Namo Karuchu, they bada bhi gaye Namo Pachikon, Arihan Siddhacharya Upadhyaya Sadhu. No, Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayaryanam. It is repeated all those many times, and as you can see, if you count up all the letters, Namo accounts for more than 15% of the Nokar Mantra. Before surgery, sugar levels need to be appropriate. Similarly, before merging with the Lord, my ego level needs to be appropriate. So, I cannot go with a very high shoulder and say, aha, if I want to imbibe the qualities of the Tirthankar, I now need to, almost the vessel has to be empty. If I say, no, who's great too, then qualities are. So, Namuthunam, can you just say just the single word Namuthunam, Nokar mantra, is very, very important. All internet accounts require a password. So that's Namuthunam is like the password. Before we start off with all the other prayers, Namuthunam is the essence. Just as gravitational force pulls everything down, similarly ego pulls the soul down. So that's the reason why the importance. Okay, Namuthunam, the ego has to be removed. Need feeling of emptiness before adoring the Lord. Okay, it's an empty vessel. After that empty vessel, I now want to start imbibing all the qualities. So only after Namuthunam does the praise of the Lord begin. Again, another example. The beginning telephone code for all cities is 0. Similarly, zeroness or emptiness is needed before all the praises are outside and inside. So, apna make apne 0 kari nakhe, pachi જ apne bhagwanની qualities આવી જાય. Now, Namuthunam is very important. Let's see, Namuthunam links us to the prayers. Now, let's just say, for example, what is this? The picture here.
Aston Martin.
Aston Martin. It's a very powerful car. What is this? The second one? A big mansion. What is this? Jewelry like Hirano set. So these are all items. Expensive items, very nice items. Can we just link 2 letters to this? Which 2 letters, if you put to this, will create a total different scene? Me or my. So that means my Aston Martin, my mansion, my jewelry. Akhali jo be words my kari nakhe, the whole situation changes for you and for others. For you will start feeling, "Arey, aa tumhari gaadi che," and the perception for others, "Arey, Rajeev bhai પાસે તો Aston Martin પેઢી ગાડી." So મને પોતાને I'll start feeling great, I've got a great car, and also from the society's point of view, wow, he's got a great car. So everything changes. Otherwise, these are just adjectives. I have Aston Martin પેઢી છે. There's no link to you. So whenever you put my, that's the time it links to you. It's like adjectives or nouns. What difference it makes? Books. So that's you've got no link to the prayers. You can talk, oh, this person here, good. But then when you start saying Namuthunam, you link yourself to them. I want to imbibe those. So Namuthunam is almost like the word. Namo is almost like the word my. You are linking yourself to the prayer. Otherwise, the qualities become repetition. Namo karwa jai che, you are now bowing down, and then you are realizing that tamari paase aapki sari qualities che, I want to imbibe those with you. So that's linking you to your prayer. Otherwise, how would you remove your karmas? If you just start like an adjective, just start saying A, B, C, D, Bhagwan has got these qualities, these qualities, these qualities. Okay, great. So what? But when you now start saying Namoti, that means you are now got humility. You are now saying, I am now going to become very humble. And tamari paase aatli badi qualities che, I now want to start getting those qualities with me. That's linking you. So tamara je karma je che tama ocha thava mande, and you start getting those positive karmas in. So that is the one which links you to the prayer. Amna Sadhvi Sahajaji Krenchikin for the Pajution Bhaktavada, that's a similar thing she explained. That the Nokar mantra che, Arihant, Siddh, Acharya, Upadhyaya, Sadhu, these are separate entities. You can almost have an academic discussion. Yes, Arihant, Siddh. But how does it link? How in Nokar mantra how do we link ourselves to it? Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam. So that's where your soul is now getting the qualities of the Nokar mantra. Otherwise, what difference it makes? It's just like talking about car, gadi, Shah. But if my karina ke, that links yourself to it. So that's Namuthunam. So we've done to the Namuthunam. So now after Namuthunam, the prayer, the next word is Arihantanam. So કે હવે હું નમુથુનમ કરું કોને નમન કરું છું હું અરિહંતાણમ ને કરું છું અરિહંત. Now arihant, the word comes from arham. So the difference between aham, so there is a Sanskrit word which is known as aham. Aham means ego, and arham means Lord. Apne arihantanam ke che arham. So the root of the word is arham. So the only difference is ra, and in the mantra science or the mantra studies, Ra is known as the seed of fire. Every single word, Va is a seed of wind. Pavan, Varsad. So Va is associated with water. Ra, even in fire, so Ra is associated with fire. So different words have got the different significance. So what we are trying to say is from Arihant to from Aham to Arham. So we are removing the ego, and that's we are now coming to Arham. So Arihant Konche, we have removed all the ego, Arihant Bhagwan. Now, another example is Arihant Konche. Say there is a slab of marble. Now, what does the sculptor do? He is just literally taking away the unwanted parts, and from that he is going to be making this great murti. The quality, that means a patthar ma Bhagwan to chej, but it was the skill and the expertise of the sculptor to chisel away all the unwanted parts and create a murti out of this stone. In a very similar way, you, me, Apna Tirthankar Bhagwan, we all have got that huge potential within us. It's when through either our own power or through Guru, when we start removing our karmas, we now get into divinity. So all that is within us. We just need either the power of removing our bad karmas and to become Arihant. So Arihant, so why is Arihant very important? Because Arihant epitomizes that the Lord was just like us. Bhagwan He was at one time just like us. And by destroying karmas, he reached perfection and purity is attained. So, if you want to win the war, you have to lose the battle. So, like in the sansar ma paida che, so we have to lose our passions. Krodh, man, maya, lobh. Now, Han, Arihantanam. Han means to destroy. And what does destroy mean? In Jainism, when we start using the word destroy, I mean, that's we are the last people to think about war. But it's all to do with our inner enemies. Arihantanam. Han means to destroy. And grammatically, Arihantanam is actually a plural word. It's not a singular word. So what we are saying, Namo Arihantanam, we are not just going to a single person here. Arihantanam means Arihants of the past, Arihants of now, and Arihants of the future. So it makes it a very powerful prayer. When you say Namo Arihantanam, Namuthunam Arihantanam, I am bowing down to all the Tirthankas of the past, of the present, the Tirthankas right now in Mahavidya Kshetra, and all the Tirthankas of the future. So that in itself makes it a sort of a triply powerful prayer. We are bowing down to someone who used to be who moved from a Ragi to a Vitragi. So the Bhagwan, Ragi means with a lot of attachments. I like this, I dislike this. I hate this, I love this. So those are Ragi. Ragi Mati, the Tirthankas became Vitragi. Without this, they are the ones who are equanimity. That's why Samayak, all these things are, Jainism strives towards equanimity. From Atma to a Paramatma. So that's what Atmas. From Danav to a Dev. And from Dev to Devadidev. That's important. If we say, what's our wish? Or after I die from here, if you can go into Devlok, that's very good. We don't want to go into any other. Ideally, human birth is the best. But in the absence of human birth, we all wish to say Devlok Magya. We strongly believe that after they leave this world, they'll be going into Devlok. Because that's obviously much better environment than here. But Devlok Matipan, that's not the ultimate place. From Devlok Mati, Siddha Lokma. So from Dev, Danav is humans. Humans Mati, we might strive to become Dev, but Dev Matipan also, that's not the ultimate point for us. We also want to become Devadidev. So, applicating internal enemies, what are the different internal enemies? Arihant, the sense organs. Bhaveche anathi bhavtu, gameche anathi gamtu. So, you can do good things with your senses or bad things with your senses. Objects of pleasure, kasai, parisha, sufferings, vedna, feelings, and upsat, troubles. These are all the kind of internal enemies which they have conquered. Now, let's look at Arihants. Can you imagine, just like if someone was studying finance, or someone was studying dentistry, or someone was studying medicine, people would say, you can study, there's so much depth. You can do bachelor's, master's, PhD. Arihant, that means, okay, Arihant Bhagwan che. But can you imagine, the Sastra and books, there'll be chapters and chapters discussing so much things in so much detail. our arihants so they'll be given કે આપડા એ લોકો પાસે 34 અતિશય છે. There's some special qualities for arihants. કે આપણે arihant ત્યાં બેઠા હોય તો શું એના બધા qualities છે. I mean, I'm not going to go through all these qualities, but just to prove the point that when we want to say Namo Arihantanam, there's so much depth behind our great personalities that if you read and read, you'll say, oh wow, is this the people we are bowing down to? Is this the people we are adoring? And the more you know about them, the more reverence you start feeling. Okay? And you start feeling, Namo Arihantanam, Namuthunam Arihantanam. કેટલા બધા એ લોકોની qualities છે. 12 qualities of arihants. Suppose arihant અહીંયા બેઠા હોય, if Tirthankar Bhagwan is here, that there are so many special qualities which are sometimes unimaginable. Let's just say, for example, there is Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt hoy, and he's now going to be doing a sort of a 200 meters race. After the race, there is a medical doctor who says, okay, his heartbeat is so slow that it's even slower than someone sleeping. Would that be possible? After running a race, his heartbeat is even slow. It's so slow, it's like a suto ena jevu che. It's almost like impossible. There are Tirthankar Bhagwan apne ke che certain things happen which our human mind cannot comprehend. If bolta hoy, animals can start listening to understanding their speech. You say, how can that be possible? But there are things which our scriptures have said that when Lord Mahavir was on this earth here, there were certain things which are like special, unique to such personalities. And there were such abode of universal welfare that through nature or through angels or through other things, many things happened which were apne bhaktama stotrama pan a lot of things come. Bhamandal ave che, lokani speech ni kevi hoy che. There are so many different things which are attributed to our Aryan qualities. Again, the Shastras highlight कि अपना Tirthankar Bhagwan बोलता होए, what kind of speech do they use? I mean, they have no echo. The Tirthankar Bhagwan do not need to explain so much. Their speech is very minimal. They'll say one or two words, and those two words will have profound meaning and essence. They don't need to repeat amne, don't have to give lengthy explanations. And there are so many different kinds of qualities. It's not going to be harsh words. So there are so many things, and the point of elaborating is that Namuthunam Arihantanam parayvache, and just on Arihantanam, there's so much things you can think about Arihant Bhagwans. So the more time you have, the more time you research into it, you'll say, wow, okay, these are the kind of the personalities we are praying to. So the second word, so Namuthunam Arihantanam Bhagwantanam. So that's the third word of Namuthunam aveche. Now again, Bhagwantanam, you can see, so Bhagwantanam, Bhagwan, application Bhagwan. So what is Bhagwan? So the root of the word is bhag, and which means aishwarya, wealth, prosperity. One who has achieved bhag is Bhagwan. So someone, apna je Tirthankar Bhagwan keva che, they've achieved aishwarya, wealth. They've freed their soul of all the karmas. They do not have to go in the cycle of birth and death. Amazing. So that's the ultimate realization. So they've achieved that. So they are Bhagwan. They've achieved it, and therefore we are that. The other meaning of Bhagwan, the other word is bhai. Bhai means fear and ant. So Bhagwan, bhai ant. So fear has ended. So once whose fear has ended, Bhagwan has got no fear. So that's another meaning of Bhagwan. The other meaning is bhav. Bhav ant. Bhav means abhav, next bhav, reincarnation. That's what bhav means. Okay, abhav mati next birth, mati next birth. That's bhav. Bhav no ant. So can you just see that from just one word Bhagwan, there's so many different meanings to Bhagwan. Someone who's achieved wealth, prosperity, fear jatu ryu che, koine reincarnation, bhav no ant kari nakhyo che, cycle and death. So essentially that's what Bhagwan means. So Namuthunam Arihantanam Bhagwantanam. Bhaj is another word also. So just like bhag. So when you think bhaj, bhajan gaye che koina. So bhajan means we adore, we annoy, we honor someone. Wikipedia gives the definition of Bhagwan, which says that from Sanskrit, it says it's possessing fortune, prosperous. And again, it says there's also a Russian word which says bogatij. So you can see there's so many similarities between Bhagwan and other languages. There's another interesting word, Bhagavana. All the four four elements which a lot of the Hindu philosophy places a lot of emphasis on. Fire, earth, it's actually included in the word Bhagwan. Bhumi means earth. Gagan means sky. So Bhagavan, Va is Vayu, is air. Bhagavan, the A is extended. So Agni is fire, and Na is near, it means water. So all the elements are again included in Bhagwan. So can you now just imagine Bhagwan, there's so many different meanings. And this is essentially just by thinking on, contemplating on Bhagwan, you can think about so many different meanings to Bhagwan. So that really just says, what is the meaning of this? There's just not one meaning. It's most of the scriptures you can have so many depth, and then it really goes into so much in depth with this. I mean, this is phenomenal how you can see Bhagwan after the meanings. Now, Bhagavad Masudai is some people can impress others with their knowledge, looks, speech, nature, etc. But Bhagwan, when we say Bhagwan they're about infinite. We're not talking about infinite. And someone says, oh yeah, he's a great orator, he's got great this. All of us have got some special skills. We are all great in certain aspects, but we are not perfect. None of us. Even our Guru Maharaj, our Acharya Bhagwans, by the mere fact that they are still on earth, they have not achieved perfection. So that means they are great souls, but they have not achieved perfection. But Bhagwan is someone who has got infinite of everything, infinite knowledge, infinite bliss, infinite punya, infinite energy. So essentially, they're the best of best, Bhagwan. They're beyond comparison. So Namuthunam, Arihantanam, Bhagwantanam, Aigranam. So that's the fourth one. So now, as you can see, now we're going to step into the qualities of Tirthankar Bhagwans. Now, Aigranam. What does Aigranam means? Adhikar. Adhikar means to start. The other word is pioneer. Someone who pioneers things. Let's imagine the Wright brothers who created the aeroplane. Can you just imagine the first time they created the aeroplane, they put it, it's a risky venture. Will I be able to fly or not? Let's look at people who are doing medical research. There's always someone who has to start the medicine, then you have to look for how to do trials and tests. Some people have to risks involved. So someone who always starts, they are great people. They are the pioneers. And from the pioneers, then it has a lot of benefit. People who created electricity, mobile phones. Some people started it, but the benefits are occurring to the masses. It happens to unimaginable. I'm sure Wright brothers, the people who invented the electricity, the atom and everything, could not have imagined the internet and all these things would propagate. So same thing with the scriptures. Apna Bhagwan che Adhikar. And that's the reason why Apna Adinath Bhagwan ke che. Or Rushabdev Bhagwan che Adinath Bhagwan ke che. Because Adinath Bhagwan is the first Tirthankar and he is attributed to have started many things. Apna ke che Asi, Masi, Krashi. So at that time the civilization was not very developed. And Rushabdev Bhagwan taught people how to do agriculture, how to do business, how to do arms, weapons. So Adhikar. So Aigranam is someone who started. For us, Tirthankar Bhagwan gave the speech, and then through those speech, we don't have Tirthankar Bhagwan now, so we have now got the Agams, the holy books. So they started the religion. They started. So Aigranam means you have started this. George Bernard Shaw, in Jainism, God is never monopoly game. It's amazing to know that our human psychology, if I got something, even when our ladies go for shopping, they want unique things. So that's a general human tendency. Unique sari, unique. So all what they want is unique. It loses its charm. They are quite different. If I've achieved moksha, I also want everyone else to get to that same stage. So they have got no monopoly there. If I've achieved the best, you all can achieve the best. So that's why they are absolutely selfless. There's no selfish motive there. And this is kind of a prayer which you say, oh Lord, your past is my present. Bhagwan pehla apna jiva jata. So their past, Bhagwan Mahavir in his past was like our present right now. I pray that your present becomes my future. So tamaru present Bhagwan is in Sit Shila, I pray that becomes my future. So that's a kind of a prayer which we can have. So, I Garanam. But now the next one is Tirthayaranam. Now, Tirtha. Tirtha has got double meaning. Tirthankar Bhagwan che, Tirthankar. So generally if you look at any English translation of Tirthankar, it says it's like a fort maker. Tirthankar. If you look at any of these Western people who translate, fort maker means like a bridge. There's a place, a bank, river bank, and someone is going to take you from one place to the other place is known as a fort maker, like a bridge. So Tirthankars are known as who can take us from our cycle of birth and death, a sea of cycle and birth, take us from the earth and then take us to Sitchila. So those are known as Tirthankar. So that's known as Tirthankar. So now what we do, there's another word is Tirth, which has also come along. So that's known as a Dravya Tirth. Ulu Bhav kevai. Bhav Tirthankar, now a Dravya. So Tirthankar is again holy place. So when you go to Pilgrim, Summit Chikhar Jai, Palitana Jai, these are all Tirtha Dhams. And those are known as sort of places which can help us to cross our cycles of birth and death. Now let's look at something. There could be someone who could have achieved self-realization. He becomes a Kevi. So Apramati Purma and he is gone to moksha. Then there are people like Gautam Swami. So Gautam Swami, what was special about him? That he became a disciple of Lord Mahavir. He then attained the knowledge and then he understood what Lord Mahavir was saying and then he became a guru and then he preached to all of us. So he depends on the teaching of the Lord. He became another enemy to moksha. Tirthankar Bhagwan Mahavir, he did a self-realization. So in one way, there was no guru for Lord Mahavir. He went to the jungle, he meditated for 12.5 years. He did not follow Lord Parshvanath. Oh, Mar Parshvanath Bhagwan Mar Tirthankar che. No. He was a self-motivated. He realized the truth himself. And through himself and universal welfare, he then became a Tirthankar. So that's the reason why there is a lot of importance attached to Tirthankar. Because let's say, for example, you really have to understand this, and suppose if Lord Mahavir was here, and we understood his speech, and suppose we then got Keval Gnan, and we go to moksha, we go to heaven. But what we have done is, we've just helped ourselves, and we've gone to heaven ourselves. We've not helped the masses of people. Then amongst us, someone has listened to Lord Mahavir, and he says, aha, I'm going to become a leader. And the leadership is very important because even in our society, we need leaders. Corporate world, we need leaders in the political world. So in the same way, the Ganadas became the leaders, and then Tirthankar became even more. So they are the ones who were the leaders of the entire Sangha. So that's important. So what we want is from idol worship to ideal worship. We worship the idols. But we now, when we have our prayers are to do with ideals. We do not say that Bhagwan Mahavir ne vandan karu chu, ke wane karu chu. Apne badda prayers we come to the virtues of our leaders. So it's about the ideals, the virtues which they have. And as you can see, these are very powerful souls. Tirthankar Bhagwan Mahavir tena chhe nahi hai. But his words through the scriptures and the Agams have lived through. And what is employed in religion is very common. When we talk of religion and spirituality, so many things are abstract. You cannot see things. You cannot understand things. So what happens in the books and in the scriptures, they use a lot of analogies. And one of the best analogies is through our human body, because what we know is our body. And that's what we can understand. We have not seen our Atma, or we have not realized our Atma. And so therefore, it's very difficult for us to understand. So when we understand Tirthankar Bhagwan, is it really true that Bhagwan's prowess is actually lasting all this? Let's look at Bhopal. Bhopal blast, it's happened way back in the past. But the effects of Bhopal are still carrying on right now. There are kids who are still being formed with deformity, long after the effect has happened. So same way, the Lord's words will still have effect way after he's gone to moksha. So we still have what's the point of listening to Bhagwan? Who's seen God? But no, once when you have that faith in him, okay, he's not there, but his preachings through the scriptures are there, and that gives you the extra faith. So Tirthayarana. So Tirthankar Bhagwans are the people. So right now the Tirthankars will be in, we have the Simandra Swami. He is in Mahavidya Kshetra, and therefore, so that's the Tirthayarana. So that's the fourth one. Tirthankar Bhagwan Vandan Kariye. Swayam Sambuddhanam. This is a very important word. Swayam, Swa. Swa is very, very important word. Aapne ke maru Swaroop, Gujarati ma ke. Roop is form, but Swaroop. Like how is my form? Swabhav. કે આનો સ્વભાવ કેવો છે સ્વભાવ ગુજરાતી word સ્વભાવ means okay bhav means what's my nature like, so it's about me. The swa is to do with self and par is to do with others. Per lok, per aina, so swa and par, so swayam sambuddhanam. And I think the advantage most of us have here is that if you know a little bit of Gujarati, it makes it so if you were to study these prayers yourself, you can actually in a way decode the prayers by yourself by saying Swayam Sambuddhanam. Buddhi, intellect. So just by even just knowing a little bit of Gujarati, it's beneficial. And that's why sometimes we feel that chokra pan jo seekhe, then they can get lots of in-depth about the prayers. So Swayam Sambuddhanam. What does that mean? That the Lord Tirthankars, they gained the knowledge themselves. They did not rely on others to get that knowledge. So it's self-awakening. Acharan Sutra, it says, Asutta Muni, Sutta Amuni. So, one who is vigilant, alert, and not sleeping is a Muni, and the one who is non-vigilant, careless, and sleeping is not a Muni. Now, sleeping does not refer to sleep, but inner discrimination. So, for Tirthankar Bhagwan ji, they really think and contemplate. So, there was no one instrumental in motivating the Lord to take Diksha, follow the path of self-realization and achieve self-realization. So they themselves felt, there's more to life. Raja Saima Chu, what is this? Gautam Buddha Nepan, same thing. I'm in the middle of all this. What is this? There must be more to the meaning of life. There's suffering, there is all these things around here. So their inner voice, their conviction was the motivator for achieving Keval Gnan. So they were self-motivated people. So that's what Swayam Sambuddhana means. They gained the knowledge by themselves, through their own efforts. Swayam Sambuddhana. Now let's just take an example. There's a story which says there was an angry king. And what he did was, એના જે બધા prisoners હતા, prisoners ને બધાને handcuff કરી ને બધાને એ લોકોને જંગલમાં they were exiled to the jungle. A very cruel king. You know what? Send all the prisoners out in the jungle. There could be tigers, there could be snakes, and let them meet their fate. That's what they deserve. Handcuffs, they can't really do anything. Now amongst those group of prisoners, there was someone who was like a mason, and he now knew that stone friction I might be able to break off my chains and I can set myself free. So that's what he did. So they were all exiled there, and he set himself free. And once when he got free, then what did he do? He started helping the other prisoners and saying, you know what you need to do? Go towards the stone, you need to take your handcuffs, really sort of start scrubbing them across the stones, and through friction, you'll free yourself. So amongst this group of people, the person who knew it was Swayam Sambuddhana, the person who knew it by himself. No one had to teach him. Okay, he knew it, maybe through his lineage, through his ancestors, but he knew how to do it. So that's Swayam Sambuddhana. The knowledge was gained by himself, and then he taught the others. Purisuthamanam. So now what we are now saying is we have now gone through the generic qualities. The next 3 or 4 is all to the prefix is going to be Purus. Now there might be a lot of the women here who might be saying, prayers ma Purus. Why is it a very sexist kind of prayer? Purus, why not Stri? But what's important to know that when you learn Sanskrit or other words, these are known as generic names. These are group names. I mean, let's imagine there's a group of teenagers here. Teenagers who are 14, 15 year old. And that's why I say, sometimes when you look at scriptures, you have to now go back to our physical world. After teenagers who are, what do teenagers generally say? Hey guys, let's go out for a party. Now what does guys mean? When you were young, guys could mean cows, first of all, but it's not cows. Guys now mean, hey, the guys used to mean boys. But now, guys now start meaning female. Hey guys, let's go out. So you can even see females telling other females, hey guys, let's go out. So the word guys is not only for men, but the guys now also starts referring to females. So Purus is a generic word for humans, you can say. It does not just mean, you are the great amongst the men. You are great amongst the humans. So Purus does not generally mean, it's a very, very derogatory remark. It's a very generic term. Now, so Purus means, as you say, men, humans. Uttam, what does Uttam mean? Anyone knows Uttam? Gujarati? Best. So what he's saying is, oh Lord, you are the best amongst the men, or amongst the humans. Amongst all the humans, you are the best. Purisuttamana. When we have a tree, we say, get a beautiful tree shape. It's a magnificent tree, magnificent forest. But do we hardly know there is probably an equal amount of roots underneath the tree, which is keeping it firm and strong. So that means that we are only looking at the outer qualities, but we do not know what goes inside the ground. There are so many qualities which is inside. So you can say the tree is magnificent for what's up, what we can see, but equally so even what's inside. How it sort of attracts all the minerals from the roots and all the different things which go underneath the ground. So that makes the tree good. So when we are now going down to our Tirthankars, Murti kitli saras che, Bhagwan awa che, but there must be so much inner qualities of our Tirthankars. Outwardly to apne bahut saru lage, but there must be so much depth of એટલે જ આપણે લોક સૂત્રમાં કહે છે ને લોક સૂત્રમાં સાગર ગંભીર so much depth of our Tirthankars. There's just not what you say the outward is just superficial. There's so much depth for our Tirthankars. Again, as we can see, now what we can see is like if you go to shopping in Primark, then you can say, there is some kind of differentiation. If you go and shop at Hollister or Abercrombie, there's a difference in the shopping. ઘણી વાર આપણે કહે છે તમે છોકરાને પૂછો, my parents are the best. It's a human psychology. We always feel, Maru is the best, my house is the best, my parents are the best. If you go to America, the biggest bridge, the longest building, the tallest place, the strongest man. We have got that fascination for something which is great, something which is beyond. That's a human. We always feel, wow, the tallest building in Dubai, the fastest man on the world. Same way, we say, amongst all the people around, Purisuthamanam, you are the best amongst all the people. Sadhu, saints, you are the best. So can you imagine the power which is in us? When you are bowing down to Tirthankar, amongst all the humans, amongst all the people here, you are the best around. Purisuthamanam, tamu vandan karu chu. Am I done or one more slide?
Is there any parents have to collect these from their answer? They need to.
Okay, I'll just do one more slide and then I'll. Purisuthamanam. Let's look at some of the qualities of Purisuthamanam. Now, what makes our Tirthankars very, very special is their special quality of universal welfare. That's what really differentiates them from others. There is no self-centeredness. They feel so much for all forms of soul. Ekindriya, Bendriya, 1 sense, 2 sense, 3 sense, 4 sense, 5 sense, Devlok hoy, Narakma hoy. That kind of feeling which is just amongst everyone. They are not concerned about their own well-being, but they are only focused on others. No Swat, Santinath Bhagwan's story. In his previous birth, he was saying, it's a very famous image, that there is a pigeon there, and there is himself here saying, to save the life of a pigeon, please take the flesh from my leg, and please save it. I don't care about myself, but save the pigeon. So they are not concerned about themselves, they are concerned about others. We wouldn't do that. Let me save for myself. What do they announce? First secure yourself, first do your sequence, and then you try to help others. Because if you can't help yourself, then how will you be able to help others? But Bhagavan Mahavir, no, I'll help others and then I'll think about myself. They are full of humility and simplicity. Lord Namuthunam advised Krishna to use water sprinkled on Sankeshwar Parshvanath. Full of humility and simplicity. If you now know the story of Krishna was on a battlefield, all the soldiers had fallen down. ત્યાં આપણા નેમિનાથ ભગવાન ત્યાં છે and he કહે છે કે કૃષ્ણ ભગવાન કહે છે all the soldiers have fallen down, what do I do? Namuthunam at that time he is still not a ભગવાન. ઈસુ કે એડવાઇસ કરે છે કૃષ્ણ ભગવાનને કે why don't you pray to Padmavati Ma, you fast for 3 days, અઠમનો તમે તપ કરો, you fast for 3 days and then through your power you can ask Padmavati Mata કે એક સંખેશ્વરની મૂર્તિ છે મૂર્તિ ને ઈ મૂર્તિ તમને અહીંયા લાવી આપે. If you sprinkle water on that Parshvanath Bhagwan, then if you sprinkle that water on the soldiers, all soldiers will get up. Now Namuthunam Bhagwan knew himself was going to become a Tirthankar, but he did not say કે હું ચૂલા હું પાણી સ્પ્રિંકલ કરી આપું છું કે મારી પાસે આટલા પાવર્સ છે. Full of humility ના ભલે મૂર્તિ છે પાર્શ્વનાથ ભગવાનની છે, the Tirthankar is going to become after him. Namuthunam Parshvanath Bhagwan is going to become after Namuthunam Bhagwan. Yet what did he say? No, you ask Padmavati Ma, get that murti, and if you go to Sankeshwar, it's in Gujarat, that temple, and that makes it a very, very profound. If you listen to a full story, it's just mind-boggling. It's one of that murti, when you understand how old and the significance of the murti, it's going to be absolutely awesome for you to understand. So that means they were full of humility. They don't become dependent or helpless. Lord Arinath taught the world agriculture and everything. Okay, problems change? Well, I'll teach you things. They're successful in all their endeavors. They have firm resolution. They're bestowed to all, no selfishness or transaction oriented. Our love and our attachment is transaction oriented. It's never selfless. It's a very sort of transaction oriented relationship we have. Tirthankars is all selfless. Firm-minded, respectful to all, and benefactor to all. Yeah, I think at this stage we'll continue for the next next session. So I think I'll just stop here.